Hi, it's me, Jacqueline. Welcome to my channel. If you are new to the channel, then please subscribe to my channel and join me at Patreon. Link in the description. Sam took the painted wooden box out and placed it on the dresser. She looked closely at Mike's face and said, "Do you mind if I work on your eyebrows a little?" "I guess not. But don't do too much. We'll go slowly on thinning and shaping them. No one will notice." "You're really getting into this, aren't you?" "Uh-huh," she said, as she started plucking a little on Mike's eyebrows, removing some stray hairs at the bridge of his nose, and some hairs from the lower side of the brows. She looked carefully and was happy for now. She then proceeded with foundation, eyeshadow, eyebrow pencil, mascara, and lipstick. When she was done, she stood back and said, "You're pretty." "You're kidding me. I probably still look like a guy in a skirt." "No. Take a look." Mike turned and looked in the mirror. The reflection was that of a blonde girl, not the prettiest girl in the world, but not too bad. He looked back at Sam and said, "You did a good job." "I had a good canvas to work with." She kissed him. "Put on the pair of sandals and let's see the whole outfit." Mike slipped on the sandals with the 2.5-inch heels and walked around the bedroom. He tried to walk as feminine as possible. Sam giggled at him. Finally, he stopped and twirled, almost falling down. They both had a good laugh. She walked around him, giving him a real close look. "You know," she said, "not bad." "Not bad at all. In fact, you have really great legs. I only see a couple of things that need a little help. You need more up top. You're too small for your build. We need to give you a butt and some hips. But that will come with time." Mike sat on the bed and just looked at Sam. Finally, he said, "You really have gotten deep into this, haven't you?" "Yes." "Why?" "What do you mean, why?" "You've got a boyfriend that likes to wear girls' clothes. That would freak out most girls. But you, on the other hand, seem to have really gotten into it. You wanted to see me dressed, so you and your sister took me shopping and bought me hundreds of dollars of clothes, wigs, and shoes. I'm just trying to understand where you're coming from." "You don't like it?" Masumi said with a tear in her eye. "I didn't say that. I love what you've done. I just want to know why." She sat down next to him, held his hands, looked directly into his eyes, and said, "When you told me, on the plane, that you were a crossdresser, it really turned me on. I don't know why, but I wanted to jump you right then and there. I talked with Sachiko about my feelings. And she thought that when you told me, it triggered something in my psyche that had been dormant. You've shown me that you can provide everything that I need in a man, and that you also have a softer, feminine side that I also love. I was hoping to help you nurture this side, to help this side of you grow. Now, I'm afraid that I've gone too far, too fast, and hurt things between us." She started to cry. Mike held her, stroked her hair, and whispered to her, "Don't cry. You haven't hurt anything. In fact, I'm so happy that you've accepted my feminine side. I haven't been able to dress as much as I wanted since starting college, and I need this. But I also needed to understand why you felt that way. Most girls would have run away screaming. I do love you so very much." She pulled back a little, looked into his eyes, kissed him very deeply, pushed him down on the bed, and proceeded to kiss him like there was no tomorrow. She rolled over on her back. He looked down at her and wiped the remnants of her tears away. She laughed a little and said, "You know, your makeup is a mess." He smiled and said, "It's your fault. And you're going to have to teach me how to fix it. Then I can also fix yours, because it's also a mess. Can I ask you one more thing that's been on my mind? Maybe? I guess. If you would have known about my crossdressing, say soon after we had met in high school, would you still feel the same way as you do now?" I really don't know. All I can say is the first day that I met you, when I touched your hand, I knew that there was something special there. I wasn't sure what it was, and it took me a while to figure out that it was love. Real love. But when I did, I knew for sure that you were the one and only for me. And I wasn't going to let anything or anyone, including that Kathy, stand between us. Kathy Ryder. Yes. You didn't know? No. What? Right after the party that the Gordons had for me, Kathy told me to stay away from you. that you were hers and I couldn't have you. We had a big fight. Luckily, Jackie was there and kept us apart physically. I wasn't sure about us then, but I wasn't going to let anyone tell me who I could or could not see. You guys fought over me. Boy, I am so glad that you were the winner. Kathy and I were never more than friends, at least in my eyes. There was no doubt in my mind who was going to win that fight. You are so wonderful. You know, I can't call you Mike when you're dressed like this. Yeah, that would be strange. Do you have a feminine name that you like? No, I never thought about it. Sachiko did. Sachiko. Yes. In fact, it's what's written on top of the makeup box. At least as close as it can be to Japanese characters. And what might that be? Michelle. Michelle? Yes, Michelle. I kind of like that. Michelle. Sounds good. I like it too. The rest of the evening was spent like many couples that are deep in love and alone spend them. The next morning was Saturday, so it was a late breakfast. Mike was there early, as was Mrs. Matsushita. They sat, chatted, and had a cup of tea, waiting for the others. One thing led to another, and she asked Mike right up front, "Young man, do you love my daughter?" Without hesitation, Mike replied, "Yes, ma'am. Very much. She is my oldest daughter, and she means the world to me." "Yes, ma'am. She means the world to me too. Her father and I have felt that there was something between the two of you since she was in America the first time. When she came home, she was deeply depressed. It took a long time for us to get out of her what was wrong. And when we learned it was a boy, we tried very hard to help her forget you. But we learned that there was more to it. She had confided in Sachiko what her feelings really were and how she felt about you. And we were finally able to get the story out of Sachiko. So, we helped her accelerate her studies and planned for her to go to college in America. It was the only way we could get her over her depression. And when she realized that she would be going back to America for college, she snapped right out of her depression. Then, when we met you 2 weeks ago, we knew that our daughter had made a very wise choice. All I ask of you is to respect her and never hurt her. Mrs. Matsushita. The last thing in the world that I would do is hurt Masumi. Mrs. Matsushita smiled at him and nodded her head in agreement. Masumi and Mr. Matsushita wandered in for breakfast. And the talk turned to Mike's last 2 weeks in Japan. Mr. Matsushita said, "Mike, you have talked about wanting to take a rail trip to see as much of the country as possible. So, I have made arrangements for the two of you to fly to Sapporo tomorrow, pick up the train there on Monday, and be back here on Friday." E/E2163 HTMLIVE also made arrangements for you to stop overnight in 4 other cities to see the sights and learn about Japanese history and the people. And there can be other short stops of your choice along the way. He took 2 packets out of his pocket, handed one to Masumi and one to Mike. Mike and Masumi just looked at each other, then at Mr. Matsushita, and said, almost in unison, "The two of us?" Mrs. Matsushita said, "Yes, the two of you. First, we can't turn Mike loose on this country by himself. Second, Masumi hasn't seen these parts of Japan herself. And third, Mike will be here for only 2 more weeks, and we felt that you two might really like some more time alone. This is our gift to you. And after the talk Mike and I had this morning, I know this is the right thing. Mr. and Mrs. Matsushita, you've already done so much for me. And we want to do this for both of you. In the 2 weeks you have been here, we have gotten to know you, and we like you very much. And we feel that you are good for Masumi." Masumi took Mike's hand and squeezed it. She said, "Thank you very much, Mother and Father. We really appreciate this and will really enjoy it." Later that day, Mike and Masumi were comparing the 2 travel packets and noted that there was only 1 room reserved in each hotel, all first-class hotels. They wondered if her mom and dad knew more than they were letting on. The week of travel. That Sunday, Mike and Masumi flew to Sapporo, spent the day seeing the city, and the night at the Sheraton Sapporo. The next morning, they were on the train heading south. They saw only a small portion of the country, but learned more about each other every day. Mike even attended his first Shinto ritual at one of the important shrines. The second night, after dinner, Masumi opened up a third suitcase that they had brought. They had brought some of Michelle's clothes along, just in case Mike wanted to dress. Masumi had other ideas. She turned and looked at him and said, "Want to go out as Michelle?" I couldn't. Yes, you could. What if someone reads me? First, you're passable. I wouldn't embarrass you that way. If I didn't think you could pass, I wouldn't even suggest it. Second, you're in a strange city, in a strange country, and no one knows you. I thought that we could just go for a walk, even a short one. Okay, I guess. If you think I can really pull it off. She just smiled and didn't need to say anything. Mike put on a red bra, matching panties, and tucked his equipment away. He added the waist cincher, pantyhose, and used 2 pairs of nylons to stuff the bra. Masumi still couldn't get over how much Mike's body looked like a girl's. She helped with his makeup and the black wig. She was getting turned on again, realizing that there was a guy standing there looking like a girl. She quickly handed him the pink blouse and pink shorts. He got those on, looked in the mirror, and there was that girl again, this time with black hair. Maybe even a little better looking this time. He slipped on the sandals, and she handed him a small purse with a shoulder strap. And they were out the hotel room door. She hustled him out the door for 2 reasons. She didn't want to give him a chance to have second thoughts. And if they didn't get out of the room soon, they wouldn't make it. She was very turned on looking at Michelle. They walked down the hall to the elevators, pushed the button, and rode the elevator to the lobby without seeing anyone. As they walked through the hotel lobby, Michelle felt like everyone was watching him. But they really weren't. They were looking at 2 pretty girls. The desk clerk smiled and bowed as they walked by. The doorman did the same. As they started down the street, Masumi whispered, "That wasn't bad, was it?" My knees were like rubber, and I thought everyone was looking at me. I almost ran back to the room. Honey, it's fine. They were looking at the 2 of us. 2 pretty girls out for a walk. As they walked slowly down the street, which was the main downtown shopping area, Michelle felt more confident with each step. They window shopped and saw many pretty things. Then they came across a small tea shop, and Masumi wanted to stop for a cup of tea. Michelle was very apprehensive about going in, but followed Masumi as she walked in and sat at a table. Michelle tried to be as ladylike as possible when she sat. The server walked over and greeted them in Japanese. Masumi explained that her friend knew very little Japanese, and the girl then greeted her in English. The girls ordered 2 teas and 2 cakes and enjoyed small talk. After Masumi paid the bill, she had to use the ladies' room. Michelle started to follow her, but hesitated at the door. Masumi whispered to her, "Come on. Ladies out together. Go to the restroom together." "I can't go in there." "Yes, you can. Come on." They walked into the restroom together. There wasn't anyone else in there. Masumi whispered, "If you have to go, remember to sit." Michelle did have to go, so she entered a stall and... Please subscribe for the next part and visit my Patreon page for early access.